Wow.
Well, good evening, gentlemen.
I'm honored.
Look, I've listened. I'm sorry I came on late. I saw the notice late. I need some time. I give you a background and what Dogara is doing and why he's doing what he's doing. Right from the formation of APC in 2014, we noticed a tendency of being insensitive to the Christian faction of the party. And immediately, even during the merger, I formed a group. I used to call them Christians in APC to fight for inclusion in the APC structure at the executive level. And I was leading the group, and we used to meet in Chief Akume's house. Almost all the Christians were there that were in APC, in the merger committee. And of course, some other elder Christians that were in APC. The idea was that, first of all, we noticed that when the interim executive of the APC was formed, all the Christians in the North got only ex-official positions. At the end of the merger, actually the merger committee, of which I was a very key member, shared the positions among the merging parties. APC, CPC had 9 slots, ACN had 9 slots, ANPP had 9 slots, ABGA, DPP had, I think, 5 slots between them to go and share among their members. Funny enough, the CPC, which was principally a northern party at the time, decided to give me ex-official. By some coincidence, ANPP decided to give Nelson Alapa from Benue ex-official. ACN, again, by some coincidence, gave Antipas from Taraba ex-official. ABGA gave Jock Alamba ex-official from Plateau. Ocholi San, who was the chairman of the Constitution Drafting Committee, was given, from CPC, was given deputy legal advisor. Now, it was very funny because he was deputizing for Muiz Banire in ACN from Lagos, who was the legal advisor, was not a son, but Ocholi was a son. So the whole thing was very humiliating for us in the party. So we formed this group to fight for our rights within the party. Eventually, after we'd spoken to all the leaders, we went around every key stakeholder in the party and laid our complaint. And all of them promised there was an oversight, they will address it at the convention. At the convention, it was worse. Because being a key Buhari man, I was the only one that had to fight my way into the National Working Committee from the North. So at that time, I was the only Northerner in the National Working Committee. Eventually, of course, I left to become the secretary to the government of the Federation, and that position was vacant, zoned to the Northeast. I kept the position open for almost 6 months while I was looking for a Christian with the capability to occupy the position, who must also be a Buhari person, which I was, who couldn't find. So eventually, we ran out of time, and the position went to a Muslim from Adamawa. So by the time we got to the end of the tenure of that first executive for APC, there was no Christian in the National Working Committee. So our problem heightened. Now, this led us up to the time of the Malabuni Interim Executive Council. No Christian was in it. That contraption, no Christian from the North. Again, our frustration heightened. So by the time we got to the last convention, this last one, we made a point. Now I was a key man leading the Bola Tinubu campaign organization for his emergence as a candidate for the party. I was the main driver. And I had noticed that the chances of Bola emerging as the presidential candidate was high. So we now said, well, if you want us Christians to campaign for a potential Muslim candidate, a Christian must be chairman of this party. They wouldn't listen. Abdullahi Adamu from the North Central became the chairman, a Muslim. Now, by some chance, the deputy national chairman North position was zoned to the Northeast. So we sat down and strategized, myself and the current SGF. We knew that if a Christian cannot get that position, we will not be able to campaign for APC because it's very frustrating discrimination against the Christians. So we sat down with the AGF, we said, this position, who can take it? We said, Dogara is the best person for it. But then we were not sure Dogara, being his former speaker, will accept to be a deputy national chairman. In any case, we approached him and he graciously agreed because he too saw the danger of APC not winning an election if they continue to isolate the Christian community in the executive structure. So we asked him, we requested him, and he accepted. But unfortunately, again, the Northeast Caucus refused to give him the slot. They gave it to a Kanuri man from Borno State, senator. So completely, as the National Working Committee is, there's no Christian in it. The National Executive Council, except for statutory members, there's only one Christian in it. Assistant Secretary given to Plateau. As usual, because Lalong was the chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, and that was the only thing they could give him. Very humiliating again. So as APC structure is right now, there's no Christian in the National Working Committee and no Christian of significance in the neck of the party. So Bola now goes ahead, we go ahead and we win the ticket. Now the problem is this. Being a Bola Tinubu man, we have been friends since 1982, close friends. I could pick the vibes around him. When some of the palace people will be saying, how can you win an election if there's no House of Fulani Muslim on the ticket? They continue to frighten him. The governors in the north, thinking he will pick one of them, started pushing this narrative. Northerners don't even consider him a good Muslim. So he must get a very good Muslim to be a running mate, thinking he will pick one of them. Of course, he got frightened into this scenario. Now, as the chairman of the Planning and Strategy Committee of the Bola Tinubu, Ahmed Tinubu system, we had set up a subcommittee to give us a recommendation as to how to prosecute this general election. By this time, the Muslim ticket was a major point of discussion in the country. And they devoted a whole long section to the merits and demerits of a Muslim ticket and a Muslim Christian ticket. Now, eventually that report was ready along with other things. We decided that the whole committee decided that the vice president should come either the Northeast or from the Northwest. And when they gave me the report, I expanded it. I gave a state-by-state analysis of the outcome of the election if you were to take a Muslim as a running mate. And then what will happen if you were to take a Christian? The essence, the summary of it is this. I said, no matter, even if you are going to take Sultan Saad, the Sultan of Sokoto as your running mate, you can never beat Atiku in the Northwest. In the meantime, by doing that, you annoy all the Christians in Nigeria and they will not vote for you. So you cannot beat Atiku in the Northwest and Christians are not going to vote for you. How are you going to win the election? I took this report to him in London. We discussed it in details. I insisted that your best bet is to take a Christian as your running mate. I was not interested. As an old friend, we knew I was not interested in the VP position. I explained to him, if you want a vice president, even some of these pastors, they have the qualification. Some of these bishops are very highly skilled. They are very educated. After all, it was Bola Tinubu and I that submitted Oshimbajo's name to Buhari, an ordinary pastor that time, not even an effective law chamber. I said, Oshibajo has been a very successful VP, so we can pick one of these bishops. Don't restrict your thinking to the political class, though some of them were interested. Bola left me in London on Thursday. In the night, I left his house Thursday, 9 o'clock to my hotel. He left for Nigeria on Friday, went to Daura on Saturday. I met the president and informed him that he had taken Kashmir Shettima as his vice presidential candidate. I was left back in London. So somebody in Daura now phoned me from the president's house. Sir, this man, your friend, has announced Shettima as his running mate. I was dumbfounded. Why did he not tell me this when we were in London? And he had been trying to placate me. He had been telling me that, BD, VP is nothing. You are SGFs, you know VP is nothing. It's just spare time. There are other positions we could give the Christians to, to get them on board. Well, of course, I knew that. There are some ministries, if you give one, it's more important than VP. But the VP is symbolic. I mean, the Christians seem to have made up their mind. It's the VP they wanted. And I told him, I said, well, if you refuse to take a Christian VP, what time are we going to get a Southern Muslim again that can become a vice president as a Christian? And from the vice presidency, we want to leapfrog into the presidency in the future. But he wouldn't listen. So I came back, I briefed our friend, the president, this is this president. I said, well, the man has rubbed shit in our face, so you have to watch the shit in public. As the major Christian politician driving his political system, he didn't take me into confidence. So I was pissed off. And I decided I sent out my very damaging, destructive press release against the Muslim ticket. Now, we sat down in my office after I gave a few group of people that we used to meet together, the remnants of that Christian in APC. Dogara was not a member because Dogara was in PDP. But when this thing happened, he now joined us. And we started meeting. We agreed that in the anticipation that APC will come to us for some form of negotiation, we wrote out some positions. If they give us this, we'll have to beg our people to accept because we are just looking for inclusion. We wrote out about 8 ministries and 10 parastatals that we feel our people will be happy if they were to get it and forget about the VP. They didn't bother. Incidentally, we went around these other parties. We spoke to them. This is what we want. Are you going to give us for us a condition for our support? Now, our principle is this. First, we insisted we must defeat the Muslim ticket by hook or crook. That one is not negotiable. That was our position number 1. Position number 2, we must not support one of the political parties in such a manner that will strengthen the hands of APC and give them a higher possibility of winning the election. So we must be very careful whom we are going to support. 3, since we are fighting exclusion, we don't want to use our own hands to exclude ourselves. We want to support a political party that will win so we can be part of the government as Christians. Since they've all agreed, they will give us those positions that we had given them. All for 3 of them. APC didn't bother to look for us. So now the problem of Peter Obi comes. First of all, if we can make Peter Obi president and defeat the Muslim ticket, I think we will die of excitement because that would have been the icing on the cake. So our sympathy was for Peter Obi. But whether you like it or not, if you're a politician, structure matters. Forget all this bullshit about structure doesn't matter. In Nigeria, at the polling station, the voter must know who he's identifying with. You go to my village, they've never seen Peter Obi, he's in remote, they don't even know what is Arambra. So who is it that's the face of the Peter Obi that they see? so that when they win election, they can catch that man for their own dividends. This is why Nigerians vote the way they vote. They vote for their tribesman, somebody from their church. So when they meet in church, they can give him their problems. They vote for the governor so they know him is their own. You don't vote for, we have not reached the stage where we do theoretical vote. And then who is going to protect your vote if you have no structure? Who is going to distribute and paste the billboards and the posters? You see, in Nigeria, you don't vote for the candidate. It's the poster, the logo of the party that is on the ballot. So somebody has to go and explain to my grandmother, this is the logo of that you are going to vote tomorrow. This is what the structure is supposed to do for you. Now, in the case of Labour Party, they don't have any House of Assembly member, for example, in my state. Who is going to go to the polling units to show the old women, this is the logo? Who is going to go around the police station to tell the youth, and we are brother now, we were classmates, you are my grandfather, we are this. Who is going to do that? There's no senator. There's even nobody to open an office. There's no boss for the party to go around to do, because there's no party. There's no senator to do that. In Nigerian politics, the House of Assembly member will open an office. He will print posters with his own picture on it. He will go around and campaign. He will hold rallies. He will meet the Women Fellowship. He will meet the youth. Then the House of Assembly member will be doing, the House of Rep will be doing the same thing too. Then the senator, then the governor. It will be Labour doesn't have all that. Where they do have, they are just the dregs that were left behind by the major political parties. So we looked at this. Now we continue to have meetings with them. We're about 40 initially in the group. Eventually we got down to just about 10 steady members, which I was leading. Eventually it came down to who is going to win the election. We don't want to lose the election. So people like Dogara eventually felt that it's better to follow PDP because they have the better chance of winning the election, according to them. And that way, Christians will be able to be in government. And having negotiated the positions we have, we think that Christians will be able to have good positions in PDP government. Some of us felt that having discussed with Peter Obi and informed them about the deficiency in their structure, and they are willing to remedy those defects. Because I'm quite skilled in these issues. I ran Buhari's campaign from 2002 up to 2019. So I know about structures, about forming new parties, about mobilization. And we continue to tell Labour, this is your problem. And they say they will solve it. When eventually some of us felt that we need to back up Labour so that we can help them establish the structure that we think that is deficient, and they are willing to do it, our chances of victory will be higher, will be high. And we might win, and we might get a Christian president after defeating a Muslim ticket. We also found out that it will be very difficult to go and tell the Christians in the North, vote for Atiku. It is the worst form of a Muslim ticket. Because one Fulani man, Muslim, is going out, handing over to another Fulani man, a Muslim, coming in. And Atiku is a prince of the Fulani system. He's the symbol of Fulani and the symbol of what the Christians are facing as oppressors. So we look at it, some of us say, we don't want to lead the people. You are moving in the front. Then you turn back and find out that nobody is following you. That's no leadership. It's better we join Labour and improve on their deficiencies, and then we deliver the votes. We organize our people and deliver the votes. Some other people like Dogara, rightly, they are entitled to it. They felt that Peter Obi has no chance of winning, and rather than all of us Christians now losing out, if we don't support one of the parties or Atiku, if the winning party didn't have our support to win, we'll just ignore us. So while I don't support what Dogara has done, I understand where he's coming from. It depends on what is your motivation. Is it, like you say, you want to redeem yourself from oppression, rescue yourself from what they have been doing, suppressing us? or you want to just be in the government. Because you can be Minister of Education and the president can sideline you. To just appoint the heads of the parastatals and leave you stranded. But if they feel you feel that as a politician, you would join politics to win election and form government. So people like Dogara prefer that. Then a number of us feel that no, even if we are to lose, we have made a statement. Because my own position is that even if we don't do anything today, we've made a statement and nobody will oppress Christian again. The next dispensation, even if we keep quiet, nobody would behave in a cavalier manner like the APC has done. So the issue is some of us followed this side, and then Dogara joined along with some of his old PDP colleagues. And that's what they did. This one, the Northern Christian and Muslim Forum, they're all PDP. Naturally, they will not want the Muslim tickets because they are PDP. It works towards them. So that's why they teamed up with quite a few of our former members and joined a PDP, while some of us joined with the Labour Party. But fortunately for us, we joined the Popular Party. I just came back from Lagos this morning where we had 2 days meeting with Peter Obi. What were we discussing? This structure. Everywhere you go, like somebody just said, they discuss Peter Obi among the Christians. But this is just energy out on the field. How do you harness this energy to translate it into votes, protect the votes, get it announced? You need people, and you need people in an organized manner. And that's what is called structure. You need funding to fund that structure, that organized group. You need them. I used to tell Peter Obi, if we don't build up a Labour Party in Adamawa, if you give me 1 billion naira, who do I give? In Adamawa, if there's no Labour Party on the ground, I can't go and gather women fellowship and start distributing the money. I have to have a party structure that will deliver on the votes. So it is important we don't deceive ourselves and say structure is not important. This is politics. This is the way Nigeria plays its politics. Structure is very important. We are not in London where you can go and cast your votes and go home. We need to have agents who will stay there and make sure you are not rigged out. Those agents, only the party can supply them to the INEC. Only the party chairman has to sign. If that chairman is not on the ground, if the escorts are not on the ground, who will do this? Who will pay for your posters? We need structure. Every local government headquarters, as you are going, you must see Peter Obi's billboard. As you are leaving, each of the arteries in and out, you must see Peter Obi billboard. You must see Peter Obi posters on every. My grandmother is dead, but if you enter her house, you still see Buhari's picture in her room, a poster from 2002. The poster I gave her, she pasted it there. Because we need rappers. Because when the woman wears the wrapper to the farm or to the market, she remembers that logo on the wrapper. On the day of election, she can differentiate it, that this is my party, this is the party I should vote for. Who will teach her that? So, gentlemen, these are the issues. It is important that I tell every Christian, go and become an evangelist for this cause. Because if we lose this election, that is, I mean, the Christians, that is to say, Peter Obi by extension. As my people say, we'll never be able to drink water again. No. Christians can never raise their head again and talk if we lose this election. Because they will think that they have beaten us in spite of that. It's even worse if a Muslim ticket wins this election. It's suicide for us. There's no two way about it. They already talk. They tell you, BD, this thing you are doing is not saying we don't trust Christians. When they give them money, they will abandon you. I say, no, not this time. But they think they can do it. They think it will happen. But if we play with this thing, forget about all this Zoom and everything. Everybody should go to the field and mobilize and organize a structure that will take people. In Adamawa, you need to even get buses to transport them to the police stations. They will not pay to go to that police station. We used to transport them to the INEC center to go and register. Even though they will not go. They will not spend 20 naira to enter bus to go and register. You need to transport them to collect the PVC. On election day, you bring them to the police station from their villages. We need people to do that. We need structure to do that because they will not come out. That's the reality of it. That's the reality of it.
Many thanks.
If we lose this election, we are in trouble, gentlemen. So please, I beg us to be more serious about this thing than whether middle belt or not middle belt. We are Christians. We will suffer if we don't win this election. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bababchir Lawal, former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, for your contributions. We'll also reach out to you in no distant time to have you appear live on our interview, and we hope you will oblige us with your presence.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I need to go to bed now, gentlemen.
That's all right. So there are 6 more hands that are up.